had a lot of great opportunities in this province, and now I got 4 kids, and if they don't have good opportunities, they're going to be coming to Dad for money all the time. No, that's the joke part. But no, seriously, I thought, no, this isn't right. People need to understand this. And this is before all this industry stuff came out. It was just from the research I was doing on the stuff that was public. Interestingly enough, though, the source of that second letter, it was leaked by a cabinet minister just before Christmas, on the 23rd. So the media, some of it caught it. It got on some of the AM radios, picked it up, and it didn't hit much of the print media, but I know there's going to be some follow-up stories. So at least there's some in the government that obviously aren't happy about this and would like to stop it. But as it stands right now, the government is full steam ahead and saying this is good for us. This is good for us Albertans. Well, you get to decide whether it is. I think it's pretty plain what my view is. And because the decision to approve these lines moved from the hearing room to the cabinet room, that means the cabinet can unapprove the lines. You follow me? So you don't have to go to the AUC hearing necessarily and convince them to turn it down, although there's some strategies in play there up north right now. You can go to your MLAs. They approve these, they can unapprove them. So if you think that these lines should not go ahead, try and convince your MLA to repeal the law and cancel these lines and do a proper needs assessment on all lines going forward. And if you're locally affected, you can participate in the AUC hearings on location and try and bring this issue back in, although I'm trying that right now, and you can imagine how many lawyers at Co and Altalink are trying to stop me from bringing up need. So that's Bill 50 for you. Sorry for the bad news. Now, I'm skipping the land of Bill 19, just because I'm worried about you guys getting all depressed on me. And I'm going to take you right into Bill 36. Yeah, somebody just said, now you're really going to be depressed. Okay, this is actually, if you've ever seen the Twilight Zone movies where the funny music starts, you know, this is it, right? We're entering the Twilight Zone right now. So let's get into it. Bill 36 is a brand new concept in land use planning and government decision making on what you can do on your land, what you can't do on your land, what you can do in your business, what you can't do in your business, and what the government can do to you, your land, and your business, and what recourses you have if they do it to you. They've divided the province up into a number of regions, I think it's 7, by watershed. So we're in the South Saskatchewan down here. The regional plans will be prepared by Cabinet and approved by Cabinet. But before I get into the regional plans, let's set the context here. Throughout Alberta's history, we have had municipalities, locally elected municipal councillors, make land use planning decisions within the locality. And it wasn't an accident. And it's not an accident that they do it in Australia and Britain and the United States and other parts of Canada. It's based on this proven notion that having locally elected officials who are accessible and close to you and from your community and have lived in your community and understand your weather patterns, you know, what goes on, that they will make better decisions, that people will have more access to them than if those decisions are made by some central planning body far away, okay? So, and in fact, the Municipal Government Act includes a number of mandatory public notice provisions. If there's any councillors here, they can tell you that if the municipality wants to amend its municipal development plan, they've got to put a public notice in the newspaper, they consult consultations, they've got to hold a public hearing, and so on. And it even goes as far as if you're concerned about what your council's doing, you can go to council chamber and you got to make an appointment and you can actually appear right before the council in open session or closed session. You can even, if you don't like a land use bylaw or there's a problem with your land, you can personally apply to amend the land use bylaw. The council can vote it down, but you can actually apply, any individual can apply to amend the land use bylaw. So that's our current state of affairs. And just one other clarification. Don't confuse the regional plan word I'm using here today with the old regional planning commissions that we had up until 1995, when each municipality in a region would elect someone from their council to go sit on a regional board. This is not that concept at all, and we'll see why in a minute. And again, warning for any reasonable, sane people in the audience, which I think is all of you. This is, like the warning that comes on after a commercial. This program may contain scenes that are shocking. Well, this one will. So what's Bill 36 about? This legislation was shepherded through the legislature by then Sustainable Resource Minister Ted Morton. It's a new centralized model for land use, economic, environmental, and social decision making. The Cabinet, under the regional plans, will approve regional plans that establish the Cabinet's economic, environmental, and social objectives, the Cabinet's plan for activities on all private and public land for the next 5 years. They call it 5-year plans. The Cabinet's policies for sustainable development, quote, and listen to this. This starts to foreshadow. This is definitely where the weird music should start. So the Cabinet, after it's finished getting our power system all really nicely built up, is going to develop policies for sustainable development, quote, by taking account of and responding to the cumulative effect of human endeavor and other events. So they're going to take account of and respond to the cumulative effect of human endeavor and other events. And I'm sure they can do that in an afternoon. And with these powers they have, they probably could. I'm going to show you some of the sections. Normally, if those of you have seen me speak on issues before, or information meetings or industry meetings, I try to describe the law, how it applies to you. I tend to avoid putting sections up on the screen. But in order for you to understand that this is real and I'm not making it up, you need to see some of the legalese. So I apologize ahead of time for showing you some of the actual legal wording. But I'm going to summarize the sections first. Section 11, and this is the worst section in the whole law. It gives the Cabinet the power to amend or extinguish, and that's their word, extinguish, existing rights, licenses, dispositions, leases, approvals, permits, and land titles. Section 19 says there's no right to compensation if government approvals, land titles, development permits, subdivision approvals, water licenses, etc. are amended or extinguished. Section 13 says you have no right of appeal. Section 15 sub 1 says it's binding on all municipalities and all Albertans. Section 15 sub 3 says you have no right to make claim against government for damages or losses. And 15.4, just in case they hadn't made their intentions already clear, goes as far as removing the role and the authority of courts to grant citizens remedies when they feel they've been harmed. How did I find out about this? Our Law Society, the Law Society of Alberta, like most law societies in Canada, has a legal education arm. Ours is called the Legal Education Society of Alberta. And from time to time, they'll go out into the legal profession and look for lawyers with experience and expertise in certain areas and ask them to prepare a research paper on an issue and present it at a legal conference. So unfortunately, I got tapped to do a research paper on Bills 19, 50, and 36 and deal with some surface rights issues as well, and present it at the Farm and Ranch Law Institute seminar in November 2009. And as I was reading Bill 36, the first time I read it, it was late at night, and I just rubbed my eyes and I thought, I am too tired. These words cannot be here. So I put it away and I picked it up about midday the next day, and all those words that I couldn't believe were still there. So here I am trying to write this paper for the legal conference one evening, and I was looking very consternated, I guess, because my wife came in and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, how am I going to explain to a room full of my peers, lawyers, these sections, and them not think I'm crazy? And she said, well, why don't you put the words up on the screen? And I went, that's right, they're lawyers, great idea. So within my paper, I reproduced a number of sections, and I had all the sections up on. So I was at the podium, standing in the hotel ballroom like this, and I brought up these sections, and I said to the lawyers, I said, read to yourself the words. So the room went quiet, they read. And I said, I think it means this. And they went, that's what it means. And so we did that, step by step, just to see if maybe I was wrong on some of this. So that's how I came to, so and that paper, by the way, is available on a number of websites. If you just search